Okay. Weird slime parasites being inside my teammate and mentor seems bad. Bentley and I are the only ones awake right now. He, Orville, Nora, and, quick check, me are all clear. If there are any parasites in the rest of us, they don't have souls. Best not think about that. The immediate problem are the parasites I can sense inside my team. I'm not sure if I can still kill them. I definitely might, they're small enough in power that I'd normally be confident. But if my power is touch range and the parasite is inside the body, am I touching them by touching their host? Maybe yes, maybe no. Beyond that, is killing a parasite while it's inside the host even a good idea? Is having a parasite corpse in your body better than the parasite itself? The little slime I saw was the size of my fist, which is quite a thing to have lodged inside the body. At least, I think so. I don't know much about parasites or biology or any of that. Which means I should probably wake up the biomancer. Vita? Bentley asks quietly. Are you okay? I'm fine, I murmur back at him. Some pretty big parasites are inside Penn and Remus, though. His eyes bulge, and the poor guy looks absolutely devastated. Oh my gosh, Vita, I'm so sorry, I didn't see anything, Hey. It's okay, Bentley, I reassure him, trying to get him to quiet down. Remus couldn't even see them during the day when I pointed one out. You're fine. We're just going to wake Penelope up and see if she can deal with it. Okay? It's not a big deal. Bentley nods solemnly, placated but clearly feeling no better. I try to grin at him to improve his mood, but it just seems to spook him more. Oh, well. As long as he's awake and around, he can help defend me if the parasites make Penelope go berserk or something, and that's all I really need. I make my way over to Penelope's sleeping bag, clearing my throat loudly. Penelope sleeps right through it, completely out of it. I nudge her sleeping bag with my foot, and she blearily starts to blink awake. Hey, I whisper softly at her. She looks really confused for a moment, but then glares fiercely at me. What do you want? She snaps. Are you pregnant? I ask. She opens and closes her mouth a few times, her face mixing fury, concern and abject confusion in a way I've never seen on a person before. What the fuck are you on about? She settles with. Pregnant, I repeat, trying not to smile. Yes or no? No. She hisses. Okay, then I think you have a parasite inside you. That got her awake. Instantly she was sitting up, a look of all-consuming terror in her eyes. She hesitates a little, eyes twitching, before taking a deep breath and starting to cast a spell. Okay, do you know about where it is? I frown, focusing. It was hard to tell when it was inside Penelope's body, her own soul was so much bigger it acted as cover. Upper half of your body, I think, I tell her. Neck, maybe? That seems like a weird place for an internal parasite. It is, Penelope says slowly. Okay, let me scan for it. She's breathing hard. Geez, I really spooked her. The girl must have a thing against parasites. She brings her hands up to her neck and lets the spell cast, running it slowly down and around her body. Eventually, after scanning from head to toe, she shakes her head. I don't detect anything. Well, I still do. There's one inside Remus, tooth, and when we encountered something that felt like it before, he couldn't even see it in broad daylight. It was this little slime thing, translucent, about as big as my fist. Would being a slime change the kind of spell you need to detect it? No. It wouldn't, Penelope insists. You're positive something is inside me? Even though I can't detect it at all? She looks really freaked out, but no sense lying about it, I suppose. 100%, yeah. They're the same things I felt inside burrowhounds. She nods, slowly. Is it just Remus and I? There aren't any others? As far as I can tell, yeah, I confirm. Vita's never been wrong so far, Bentley chimes in, worry in his voice. You might be really sick, Penelope. Penelope pinches her chin with her thumb, thinking. Well, that's the problem. I'm not sick. As best I can tell, I'm as healthy as I've been all trip. We should wake Remus up, see if he has any insight. I take a deep breath. Something was up, but I have no idea what it is. Just some hyper-camouflaged creatures evolved to be invisible to biomancy, maybe? Is that how nature works? Well, I don't have any better ideas. We may as well wake everyone up, I say. I was keeping track of the parasites before I passed out. They must have slipped in during the few hours I was out. It might be dumb luck, or they might be smart. Camp could be unsafe. Penelope nods slowly, a fear-induced stiffness throughout her entire body. I nod to Bentley, who shakes Orville and Remus awake while I go to get Nora. Vita? What's up? Nora murmurs as I nudge her awake. I doubt a monster attack would mean I get this nice of a wake-up call. Parasites, I answer. She curses and stands up immediately. I explain the situation to the group, with a bit of help from Bentley. Remus stays stoic and silent throughout, only reacting when I explicitly ask him in the end. What do you think we should do, sir? Remus thinks for a while before answering. If Penelope can't detect them, we might need a more specialized biomancer, he says slowly. Penelope, keep an eye on our conditions. I will arrange treatment for us personally when we return to Skyhope. In the meantime, if something catastrophic starts to happen, Penelope should be able to detect and treat it. Otherwise, without anything obvious to go on, we eat extra rations and pray to the Mistwatcher that it's just leaching nutrients. He nods at Penelope. She relaxes ever so slightly, nodding back. Should we move camp, sir? He grunts. Your call, Scout. Internally, I groan. Remus would kick my ass back at the guild if I didn't play it safe, but what was more safe in this situation? I think we keep the camp in place rather than try to move at night, I say. I'll stay awake the rest of the shift, and I'll know if any more parasites come. Orville and Nora sag with relief, while Remus nods. Fair enough. Let us know the moment you detect any changes, if you do. I nod, letting everyone get back into bed. Time to wait until everyone passes out so I can snack on my bounty. So I wait. And wait. And wait. Penelope was just not fucking sleeping, though. I glance her way. She was pretending to sleep, or at least trying to. Yet it has to have been at least a couple hours, and she hasn't passed out at all. Slowly, quietly, I get up and walk back over to Penelope's sleeping bag, sitting down next to her. She tenses, her full body coiling like a spring. Hey, I whisper to her. You doing okay? She doesn't respond, still pretending to be asleep. Well, if she was going to play it like that. You know, this kind of reminds me of the one time a kid I knew died and the guards actually cared, I murmur softly. There were maggots in his brain. Some kind of bug had laid a bunch of eggs in his ear, right? And apparently, over time, they hatched. These maggots started eating his brain, kinda like what you do to those rats. We knew about it, but it was like, what do you do? We've got no chance in hell to afford a biomancer. Dude's got maggots in his brain, sucks to be him. But one of the older kids realized they were some kinda monster bug eggs, and he got a reward for showing the guards the corpse. I think he might have known about it while the kid was alive, but waited until he died so we didn't have to share food anymore. Can you imagine? Knowing someone's head was slowly getting eaten from the inside out and deciding, okay, stop. Penelope hisses. I'm sorry I slapped you. Okay? Is that what you want to hear? No, but thank you for apologizing. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. I could tell you weren't really sleeping. I am, by all methods I'm aware of, completely fine, she whispered back. But? I prompt. But I'm terrified, she admits. I'm clearly in danger, I don't know how to handle it, and I don't want to die. I nod. Not dying was a goal I could totally get behind. This might be a good moment. Well, I guess I should say, then. You pretty much already know, but I'd like you to keep it secret. Penelope glances my way, rolling over a little to see me better in the darkness. You were right, I tell her. I can kill things I touch. It works better on smaller, weaker things. So I think I might be able to use it on your parasite, without hurting you. Her eyes go wide. That, for whatever reason, seems to make her even more afraid. Did I fuck up? No, Vita, please do not touch me. I will deal with this on my own. I frowned. You sure? She swallows. Completely sure. You might kill me. Or you might kill the parasite, and I still wouldn't be able to find it. You said it was large. If I can't find it to remove it, that could cause even more damage. So we have to do this the right way. Does that make sense? I guess so. You're not worried about my death touch thing, right? She manages a little bit of a smile. A rare sight, from her. Well, you can touch someone and kill them. I can touch someone and kill their whole village. So, no touching. I blink, smiling back a little. Oh, thank goodness. She doesn't care about that bit. That went well, then? I'll wake you up if I feel anything weird with you or the parasite, okay? You can relax. Thank you, Vita, she says with a slight nod. I will try. Wow, a thank you, I comment, grinning at her. You must be shaken up. Her smile freezes for a moment, but she quickly turns over and buries her head in a pillow. Go back to guard duty, she murmurs. You're welcome, I respond quietly, getting up to do just that. Let me know if you change your mind. Nearly another hour passed, and Penelope finally goes to sleep. About damn time. I've been hankering to munch all day. With monumental effort, I keep the huge soul in storage and continue to only eat a few of the weaker ones, like I have on previous nights. I want to eat the big one so goddamn bad, but in the middle of a possible crisis seems like a bad time to indulge. We make it through the night without further incident, and the next 2 days the team focuses on getting back to the city as quickly and safely as possible. There are a few more fights and scrapes, but nothing as dangerous as what we cleared on the way out. I keep a close mental eye on Remus and Penelope, but they seem mostly okay. Penelope runs hourly scans and continues to turn up nothing harmful. I'm not sure, but the parasite souls might be slowly getting bigger. It's difficult to tell, being hidden in souls so much larger than they are, but I point out the possible strength increase to the team and resolve to keep an eye on it. Both Remus and Penelope are eating a lot more than usual, but whether it's need or stress is difficult to say, even for Penelope. Remus is as unflappable as ever, but the closer we get to the city the more Penelope starts to freak out. I hope she's okay. For a girl that systematically experiments on animals, she sure is freaked out by having something in her own body. Maybe it's the fact that she herself couldn't detect it, that she had to rely on me to trust it was even there. I won't complain too much about that, I need all the trust I can get. When the trees start to thin and the edges of Skyhope Crater come into view, a palpable energy flows through the team. We made it. Orville and Nora are beside themselves with glee. Bentley is still oddly reserved, but he smiles at the sight. Remus is as stoic as ever, while Penelope looks like she'd shat herself. For my part, I'm absolutely looking forward to going home and seeing Lynn and Rowan, giving them a huge hug and chatting about my adventures. Yet a big part of me can't help but look back at the jungle and lament the future lack of free souls that would be popping up all over the place. At least I have plenty stored to chew through while I'm stuck in the city. I certainly worry about liking souls a little too much, but they're just so damn tasty. Monster souls didn't even have the existential angst behind them. I can just eat them and it's fine. You know, probably. Before we knew it, we were at the gates. They opened for us, the hunters returning from a successful mission. People got out of the way, letting us pass them in line to reach our home first. Deference. That's an even more surreal experience than having a whole extra sense. Speaking of, the abundance of human souls nearby startle me with their sheer variety all over again. It had been a constant pressure in the jungle to identify groups of like monsters, but now there are no groups, at least not beyond the tiny, barely worth noticing vermin of the city. Humans are all unique, each of their souls an individual work of art. We all trudged back to the Hunters Guild. Remus gave us the rest of the day off, grabbing Penelope and hauling her away to find a healer. There was only one place for me to go, the shack. After dropping my things in my room and grabbing a meal, I sprint to the stalls, buying more food and rushing back home. A small voice yells my name and soon the kids are pouring out of the shack, grabbing at my clothes, at the food, asking what being a hunter was like, if anyone died, if I've seen any cool monsters. Then Lynn and Rowan were there, grinning proudly from the doorway to my shitty, dilapidated home. But it is my home, and after finishing a hug with each of the kids, I launch myself into their arms next, squeezing them with all my no longer inconsiderable might. They lean down and hug me back. All is right with the world once again. Welcome back, Vita, Lynn said. Lynn. Rowan. I can't believe you're both home. I'm so glad you're okay. That's our line, shrimp, Rowan said back, giving me a friendly noogie. Did you seriously survive outside the walls this long? Yaha. I confirmed. I'm a great scout. And we have a biomancer so we can eat monster meat. It's so tasty. Feels like that's not all you've been eating, Lynn murmurs quietly, grinning conspiratorially. I nod rapidly, pointing down below. She laughs and the three of us descend to the room under the shack. I'm finally back together with people I don't have to hide anything from. There was so much I wanted to talk about. But first, I pull out my massive, humongous, stored supersoul that I've been salivating over for the last 3 days. Lynn and Rowan can't see anything, but they went still watching my hands as I hold something only I can touch. Lynn. I say, grinning. Tell me how much more dangerous I feel. I swallow it. The massive, muddy, musical soul is a symphony to my senses as it slides towards my stomach. Something else is waiting for it first, however, pulling it apart and slurping it down like soul spaghetti, filling me with delicious, delicious power. I let a satisfied exhale escape my lips as I finish devouring the massive monster soul. I feel good. Like my whole body is lighter. Lynn's eyes are as wide as saucers. What the hell did you just eat, girl? She asks, stunned. Deviant burrowhound soul, I respond smugly, pulling out a smaller soul for dessert. Ah, so delicious. It was bigger than the shack. Vita, you just got way up on my radar, girl, Lynn said. That shit's not even fair. I did a quick comparison, then shrugged. I'm still nowhere near as strong as you are. Yeah, Vita, but I've had my talent for way longer than you and I push it to the limit almost daily. I have to admit I'm jealous of how you can just make huge jumps like that. I grin, letting myself look exactly as smug as I feel. I have the coolest talent out of all talents that might get my head chopped off by Templars. It's even super delicious to boot. Rowan covers his face as Lynn busts out laughing, grabbing me and hugging me again. You little goober. Don't rub it in. Ooh. I say, coming up for air from the cuddle. I also saw metal for the first time. Remus has a metal sword. Does he now? She says, grinning mischievously. Well. My jaw drops open. She wouldn't. Please don't try to steal from my boss, Lynn. I think he'd kick your butt. That sounds like a challenge, she says, laughing at my increasing distress. The day carries on and I tell them more and more of my adventures. I gush about how much explosion organs sold for, how I had to use my soul pool in a fight, about Remus's insane slaughter of the burrowhounds, and the parasites they ran off to get a healer to deal with. As every detail of my adventures is laid out, they listen with rapt attention, jostling and squeezing and laughing alongside me. I promised to bring them my pay tomorrow, so the three of us could decide the right amount of money to keep the mob happy with. Rowan took the job with the Templars, but he's tight-lipped about it. Apparently he can't say much, but there also wasn't much to say. He and Lynn are putting in effort to be good little minions for now, to better blindside the broken Drockens. I made them both promise to stay safe. Twice. Eventually, as the hours pass, the next island starts to encroach overhead. I need to be back at the Hunters Guild. Bidding my family goodbye, I run all the way to the guild. Pausing, waiting outside. I couldn't feel Remus anywhere, but Penelope was in our room, still with the parasite in her. Curious. I head upstairs, finding her sitting on her bed rather than her desk for once. What happened? I ask. Where's Remus? The healer he's insisting on can't see us for a few more days, she says glumly. I have been ordered to stay here until you returned, then stick with you so you can monitor my condition until a different biomancer can look at me. Oh, I murmur. Well, works for me, I guess. I wouldn't mind help carrying food tomorrow. Food? She asks. You'll see, I tell her, quickly confirming no one was nearby before continuing. Still not down for death touch experiments instead? I am never going to be down for death touch experiments, Vita, she insists. Please don't touch me. I nod, tossing most of my clothes off before hopping onto my own bed. I check, ever so carefully. Yes. Roscoe was there, safe and sound. I flop on top of him and squeeze my heart out. Penelope doesn't even make fun of me. Sitting back up, I pull Roscoe onto my lap to cuddle him as I stare at my woe-begotten healer. I've been having a lot more success talking to her since this whole slime thing. Maybe I can help. Are you still feeling okay? I ask. She glances up, swallowing. Yes, I still feel, and am, fine. If not for all the days we spent in the woods, I would call you mistaken or outright lying. But no one would believe that after your consistently flawless performance, not even me. Flawless? I ask, raising an eyebrow. You mean besides the time I nearly died to those tentacle guys and you were the only reason I didn't? She smiles a little. Well, flawless in your role, I mean. You always knew exactly how many creatures we were up against, exactly where they were, their relative power level. Arguing with you would be pointless. I can't help but be nervous, when you can see what's in me better than I can. Better than everyone can. I frown. Well, it's okay to rely on other people for stuff, you know. I'm good at sensing things, but I can't take hits. We're a team now, Penelope. You can rely on us. She shudders. I really can't. Why not? I ask, frowning. She shakes her head. So many reasons. Sorry, but now that you're here, I should try to sleep. I have plenty I need to catch up on. Me too, I say, nodding. Big time me too. I got like, 2 or 3 hours a night? She smiles glumly a bit and nods. Yes. I suppose so. Thank you, Vita. Good night. Good night, I answer, blinking away the surprise of getting thanked again. Well, time for bed. Time to sleep. Time to do all the things a normal person would and should do after coming home from a dangerous mission. Except that my teammate still has an unknown parasite inside her, and only I can tell that it's there. Groaning internally, I get into bed, squeezing my best friend Roscoe. I wait, patiently, for Penelope to fall asleep. Then I sit back up, pull out a soul, and munch down on it. It was going to be a long fucking night, and I'll need the energy. Damn slimes. I'm sure now that the slime soul is larger than it was before. Penelope's soul isn't getting any smaller, at least. Eating souls was still exclusively my shtick. Still, I hope that Healer Remus knows hurries it up. Staying up late is exhausting, but thankfully I have Roscoe to keep me company this time. Hours upon hours pass before light reaches the island once more, and Penelope manages to sleep through all of it. Good. At least someone got rest. The parasite grows ever so slowly stronger, but the first thing Penelope does when waking up is scan for problems. Still nothing. I seem to be fine, she murmurs. You, however, look like you got run over by a cart. Are you all right? Didn't sleep, I answer back, yawning. Wanted to make sure nothing happened overnight. Was afraid the slime would start hurting you. Or escape. Or have a baby. Or something. She looks taken aback. You really don't have to do that for me. I am fine. I shake my head. Remus said assume everything in the forest is deadly. Then he said to watch you. I'm gonna watch you. I see, she says slowly, looking away. Would you like me to wake you up a little? It's no substitute for real sleep, but it should help. I frown, confused. She's so nice all of a sudden. Is this a trick? It doesn't really feel like one, and Penelope is hardly the subtle type. Oh fuck, is it the slime? Is it controlling her brain? Was it going to try to kill me? Could it kill me fast enough if I dropped my magic resistance? Could I afford not getting a magical pick-me-up if I'm supposed to watch her all day? Sure, I say, body tense. Penelope walks over and casts something. I watch her very carefully. Her hands are moving, so it must be a learned spell. Unless she's covering for her natural magic, or doing something else with magic that I don't understand, I guess. It just doesn't feel like she's going to murder me, though, and trusting that instinct I let her cast. Sure enough, it perks me right up. I shoot her a relieved smile, nodding. Thank you. Oh, of course, she answers, pouting a little. It's the least I can do, if you're up all night for my sake. Anyway, did you not have something you wanted to do? Need to do, I correct. Gotta buy food for home. Talk to family. Stuff like that. I suppose I'm stuck with you, then, Penelope says glumly. I smile a bit. I'm a little worried about taking a parasite-infested girl to see my family, but it's a parasite I can sense. It won't be slipping into anyone else on my watch. Well, hey, maybe it'll be good for you to get out of the room and do something other than torture rats, I tell her. Torture? She looks briefly surprised, then gawks indignantly. I don't torture rats. It's research. My magic is painless. Aha. What about the ones you mess up on and kill slowly? That's an accident, she grumbles. It's just the consequence of knowledge. I shrug. I'm just teasing. I've killed rats for worse reasons. Come on, get dressed and let's go. She gives me a weird look at that, but starts getting out of her nightclothes. When she pulls a particularly fancy outfit out of her drawers, I wince. You might not wanna wear that, Penelope. What? Why not? She demands. I like this dress. 'Cause I don't wanna get robbed, I tell her. Do you have anything that looks a little less rich? She snorts. I'll not lower myself for fear of some random ruffians. Besides, we're hunters. If anyone tries something, they're going to regret it. I sigh. Whatever. I'll deal with that problem when it happens. She puts on her fancy outfit, some kind of frilly red thing that helps push up and show off her chest. How much dye went into making something like that? Was it blood-colored? Of course she likes it blood-colored. I continue wearing my armor from the hunt, making sure to bring my spear and knife. The brownish, dried monster gut stains, while technically also blood-colored, do not match Penelope's dress very well. Hopefully, though, they'll get people to think twice about messing with us. I start to exit as soon as she's ready, causing her to raise an eyebrow. You're wearing that out in the city? She asks, incredulous. Yes, I say firmly. Now come on, I want breakfast. A few grumbles under her breath later, she follows me down to the mess hall. Steaming soups are abundant, warming my tummy with the broth very possibly made from a few corpses I brought home. It has somewhat of a burrowhound flavor, and as tempted as I am to point this out to Penelope, I'm way too busy eating to tease her. I have my priorities straight. After stuffing my face, and then waiting for Penelope's slow butt to finish eating, I make it to the front desk. It's time to collect my pay for the day. And the pay for the days I've been on the job. And my cut of the pay from the job. When the receptionist tells me how much that all was, I have to go sit down. 47, 48, 49. Vita, what are you doing? Penelope asks, rudely interrupting me. How many meals is that? I demand. How much? Why are we getting paid so much? Vita, it's not that much, Penelope says flatly. Quit being so dramatic. This isn't even factoring in the cut we'll get from the monster parts we brought back. A squeaking noise escapes my throat, causing Penelope to roll her eyes. How can she be so cavalier about this? This was serious. This was crazy money. What the heck am I going to do with it all? A few minutes later I collect myself enough to return to the receptionist and ask if she can hold on to most of that. As loath as I am to allow anyone else to even think of touching my cash, she's the person responsible for giving it to me in the first place. If she was going to cheat me, she'd just tell me a lower number, right? I only take 2 days' pay for now, enough to get a bit of extra food for everyone. I don't trust myself with any more than that. Given my luck, it would all just get stolen. I set off into the city, making sure Penelope stays very close behind. It was more for her own basic safety than anything else. She grumbles and complains a little as we move to the poorer districts, gets indignant when we go even poorer, and by the time I got anywhere close to the place I actually intended to buy food from, she was downright disbelieving. The streets here are more dirt than stone, the half-dilapidated houses cracked and crumbling. I walk in zigzag patterns that Penelope quickly learns to match, dodging thieves, horse shit, and occasionally human shit as we make our way down the road. Squatters line the streets, many only kept from pawing at the rich girl's legs by a death glare from me. She's an obvious target, and she's starting to feel it. Still, when I arrive at my favorite stall, run by a toothless old man mixing grains with water and cooking them on a rock, she has yet more shit to give me. This? Vita, this is the place you're buying food from? This can't possibly be safe. What the hell are you doing out here? Penelope, shut up. She gawks at me, clearly furious. I hold her gaze, glaring right back. This was not the time or place to banter with her. Under the weight of my stare, she swallows whatever she was going to say. Good. I turn my attention back to the bread seller. Sorry about her, Dathus. Could I get double the usual today? Of course, of course. The old man says, laughing good-naturedly. You look like a servant that just ordered a noblewoman around. Just made my day, it did. I am a... Penelope, shut up. I say loudly. She does, thank fuck. Was she about to say she was a noble? Firstly, is she? I hadn't known that. But secondly, is she fucking suicidal? Dathus, my favorite bread maker, not that the competition was exactly fierce, chuckles again, handing me my order. It's flat, it's flavorless, but it fills bellies and that's what matters. I shove as much as I can onto Penelope, hoping to keep her occupied. I was worried about you after you stopped showing up, Vita. Dathus commented as I collected my family meal. Did anything happen? Oh, you know. Almost got eaten by monsters a few times. Nothing as bad as here. He laughs at that and I pay, parting ways. As soon as I can, I duck up an alleyway to take the stares off of me and my teammate. If I wasn't with her she'd be mugged and raped. With all the ways people were rotting here, they wouldn't even notice if she added to it. Penelope, it's not safe here at all, I insist when the two of us are alone. You can't go around saying crazy shit like being a noble. Which begs the question, Vita, why are we here? She hisses back. I told you already. I live here. We're bringing my family breakfast. This is not a breakfast. It's better than nothing, I say flatly. Barely. Well, that matters. I shout, turning on her. It matters a lot, okay? We usually get nothing. So get off my back about it. I glare at her, absolutely fuming, and the haughty demeanor just drops. Vanishes. She shrinks away, unable to meet my eyes. Okay. Sorry. It was so un-Penelope-like that I couldn't react with anything but confusion, my rage sputtering at nothing. I turn and lead the rest of the way to my house in silence. Vita. Vita's here. Vita, Vita, Vita. The kids barrel out of the house to tackle me, clamoring for first dibs on the meal. I hand out the food, making them promise not to steal anything from Penelope. I glance her way to try and see her reaction to that, but she doesn't even seem to notice. Her expression is nothing but horror. She probably hasn't seen anything like this. The kids are skin and bones, like I had been not long ago. So thin I'm afraid they'll break every time they hug me. The wrists, the ribs, the gaunt features. It's like looking at someone halfway in the grave. No, not just someone. Children. Dying, suffering children that I'm barely keeping alive, barely giving hope to. It was completely normal to me. Yet to Penelope. Watch his eyes, she swears quietly, covering her mouth with a hand. This is your family? You're raising them. No, Lynn and Rowan are raising them. I used to be them. Then it turned out I had a talent. I shrug, leaving it at that because that's really all there is to it. There's nothing special about me whatsoever. I just lucked out, and even though my luck is cursed it's better than no luck at all. May I? Penelope chokes over her words, struggling to even speak. She points at one. May I cast? I blink in surprise, but nod. Hell yes, I'll let her cast. They need all the help they can get. Everyone, this is Penelope. She's my teammate, and she's a biomancer. Do what she says, okay? She's going to help. They crowd around her immediately, fully aware of how rare an opportunity this is. Is Lenorowan around? The kids confirm my suspicions. They were both out and working. Unfortunate, but not unexpected. I'll have to visit them another time to figure out the money thing. Penelope, meanwhile, is already starting her craft, her hands steady even as her body shakes. Enduring her bitching all the way over here is worth it and then some to get pro bono biomancer work for all the kids. Although, I suspect they're like you, Penelope says quietly. They have the same problems you do. Yeah, I say. Told you so. She swallows. It's hard to believe you used to look like this, she whispers. I did what I could. A lot of them were hiding bruises or scabs. They all had lice, which I killed for them. Oh, thank you. That helps a lot. I can't help with the rest, she continues, ignoring the praise. Not unless we got them more food, and I come back every day, and I shrug. We're working on the first part. You'll need to get them more than bread, then, she answers. They'll get sick if you only feed them bread and water. My eyes go wide. Wait, really? Yes. I think so. Biomancers are still figuring out how it works, but you'll need vegetables, meat, something tart, every so once in a while. I nod. No reason to doubt her. She knows way more about this stuff than I do. The kids all look like they're doing a lot better, and unlike Penelope, they're now parasite-free. Shit, that food would cost a lot. But I guess I'm rich. I owe you for this, I tell her. Big time. She huffs, getting a bit of that Penelope-ness back in her features. Please. I'm a biomancer. This is nothing less than what's expected of me. I've never seen any other biomancers offering to help, I say frankly. You helped anyway. I owe you. She just looks away, her expression complex beyond what I can identify. I stand up, smacking the hand of one of the kids for trying to grab my knife. Some of them can be pretty sneaky, but I'm damn hard to sneak up on now. Well, we should get going, then, I announce. That's pretty much all I needed to do too. I stop, frowning as some familiar feelings pop into my sensory range. It was Squigs and Friggs. Based on the path they were taking, it was unlikely they were heading towards the shack. I wonder what they're up to. If Penelope hadn't been here, I would want to try talking to them. As is, probably not the best idea. I don't want to piss any of them off, especially not now that Penelope is finally starting to open up and be nice a little. I keep a mental eye on where they seem to be going, but take care to lead Penelope in a very different direction on our way out. They don't make any move to follow us, going about whatever business they're going about. Probably killing someone. Well, this is about the only thing I needed to do, I say. What about you? Penelope asks, looking up from being lost in thought. I said, is there anything you want to do? If we're stuck together until Remus gets back, I can follow you instead of the reverse if you have things to do. Oh. Well, there are a few things But you. We would need to. Yes? I prompt, trying to get something coherent out of her. Well, perhaps we should head back to the guild. I'd like to see if Nora is around. She wasn't in the dorm last night. I nod. Okay. We can do that. This way. I turn down another alleyway, bypassing what would have been a mugging 2 blocks ahead of us. You know these streets well, don't you? She asks. Yup, I confirm. Kinda have to. Yes, they're not very well planned, are they? It must have been dreadfully difficult learning it all. I shrug. They're kind of weirdly put together, but the streets have their own sort of logic when you get used to them. I feel the muggers move position, trying to find another spot to ambush us. Could they see where we are somehow? Maybe hear us talking? There are only 6 of them and they're all wimps. Penelope and I can probably stomp them. It's not really worth the effort, though. Okay, I know these roads are complicated, but I'm certain you just turned us around, Penelope comments. I did. Muggers ahead. They might be tracking us somehow, I'm gonna throw them off. Her eyes widen and she nods, letting me do my thing. Not talking seemed to do the trick, and after a few more twists and turns, the people following us went the wrong way, eventually leaving our sensory radius. We're clear, I announce softly, just the same as I had in the forest. Penelope shudders at that, shaking her head. I'm starting to see why nothing seems to faze you, Vita. It is what it is. Nothing else bothers us on the way back. Nora is inside, which I announce well before either of us can see the guild building. What did you want us all for, anyway? You'll see, she answers, managing a bit of a smile. We find Nora in the courtyard, practicing with some kind of 2-edged stabbing sword. She downgraded the size of her shield a little, keeping it in front as she drilled cuts and thrusts. Hi, Nora, I say, waving. Vita. Penelope. Hey. The tall woman barely glances at us as her drills continue. You guys here to practice? Not this time, Penelope says. We're here for you. That gets her attention, and she stops stabbing at the air. She shakes her head, glistening droplets of sweat flying off her forehead. How can I help? I'm stuck with Vita until Instructor Remus returns, Penelope explains. Please, please, help me get her into a damn bath. Nora blinks. I blink. Then a grin shoots up Nora's face, and she lets her shield drop to the ground. Oh hell yes. Is this an invite, Penelope? It might be, she says smugly. I don't get it, I say. Why are we talking about baths? I take baths. Oh no you don't. Nora says, sheathing her sword and hurrying up to our room, stripping armor on the way. That public area cold water shit? That's not a bath. Yes. It is? I'm glad you came to me for this, Penelope, Nora says solemnly. I see now how bad she has it. You can count on me. I appreciate it, Penelope answers as we follow an excited Nora into our room. Now take that armor off, Vita. You're way too filthy. I'm too filthy to take a bath? Armor. Off. Nora, can you get her something nice to wear? Use one of my outfits. I'll try to save her hair. My hair is fine. What are you all doing? Nora just cracks her knuckles. Hold still, Vita. There's a bath invite on the line. Something about the way she says that makes me scared to do anything else. I hold stock still, letting Nora buzz around and pull parts of my armor off with surprising speed. Soon I'm in nothing but underwear, heart beating fast as Nora pulls out and assesses outfit after outfit from Penelope's bulging wardrobe. Penelope herself stands behind me, trying against all odds to untangle my possibly literal rat's nest of hair. What is happening? I squeak in terror. We're making you pretty, Nora answers, looking between a bright blue dress and a white silk, actual silk, robe. But why? So we can make you even prettier, Penelope answers. You've never had a proper girls' outing in your life, have you? We're going to steal jewelry? No. What? That's what Lynn calls it. Penelope and Nora both stare at me, concerned. As in Lynn the metal thief? Oh. Fuck. No. Different Lynn, I stammer. Right, Penelope murmurs. Well. No. We're going to take you to a bathhouse. A real, private bathhouse. With soap and hot water and perfumes and massages. Wouldn't hot water hurt? I ask. Oh, this poor child. Nora moans dramatically. Penelope, she knows naught of the joys of the world. I pout. I'm not a child, I insist. And yet, Penelope says smugly, pushing me forward. Okay, Nora. Dress her up. I've done all I can do. Nora rubbed her hands together gleefully, sending a fear through me that only Lynn had ever previously been able to evoke. She was in older sister mode,